Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be unboxing the Mi11 Ultra and doing a quick hands-on review. With that said, here's the box. This phone has been launched in India at 70,000 rupees and comes in only one variant with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. It's available in two colors, ceramic black and the ceramic white. We have the black color. Now this phone is truly a flagship from Mi in India. Well, Xiaomi has been launching many phones in India for a couple of years, but they really never launched a true flagship. Well, even if they did, it's not when compared to the global market. Anyway, this phone is truly a flagship and definitely comes with all the bells and whistles that you can imagine. So just to start off, it's got great cameras with periscope telephoto lens, an amazing looking display with quad curves, top of the line performance, wireless charging, IP68 water resistance, you name it, it has it. Literally, this is the flagship from Xiaomi, and that's one of the reasons that I'm really excited to unbox this phone. So with that said, let's get on with the unboxing. So here's the box. Definitely looks different from your regular Xiaomi or Mi phones, especially Redmi phones. Anyway, let's unbox it. First we have a smaller box. Next we have the phone itself, a 55-watt charger. Following that we have a Type-C charging cable. Now coming back to the smaller box, inside we get a SIM card ejector, a soft silicone case, and some documentation. Now back to the phone. This is how the phone looks on the front, and this is how the phone looks on the back. Now let's have a physical overview. On the back, this phone has a ceramic back. This is the black color. It looks quite premium. It's obviously a fingerprint magnet. It's also slippery, but it's definitely premium material. At the top, we have the camera module along with that secondary display and dual LED flash. We'll talk more about that later. On the front, we have a huge display with quad curves. Well, that's two curves on the left and right, and also a curve at the top and bottom. Now for the sides, on the right side, we have the power and volume buttons made of metal. They have a nice clicky feel to them, and they're also sufficiently elevated. On the left side, it's completely plain. At the top, we have the speaker grill followed by the secondary microphone for noise cancellation, followed by an infrared sensor. Finally, at the bottom, we have the SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots, followed by the USB Type-C charging port, primary microphone, and the speaker grill. Now this one has a thickness of 8.38 mm and weighs 234 grams. In hand, it fits pretty comfortably, there's no problem with that. But because of that ceramic back, it's super slippery, a fingerprint magnet, and it definitely has quite a bit of weight to it. Maybe if you get used to it, it might not be a big deal, but initial impressions, it definitely feels pretty heavy. Now this is how the phone looks with the case on. This is just a free case that we get inside the box, a soft silicone case. It can just prevent smudges and give you extra grip. That's it. Not a lot in terms of overall protection. So if you're someone who's really worried about dropping your phone or scratching its amazing looking back, I would definitely recommend you to get a better case as soon as possible. Now with that said, these are the complete specifications of this phone. On the rear, this phone has a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel primary camera with f1.95 aperture with optical image stabilization. Following that is a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with 128 degree field of view with Sony IMX586 sensor. Following that is the 48 megapixel camera with periscope telephoto lens with optical image stabilization and with Sony IMX586 sensor. It offers 5x optical zoom, 10x hybrid zoom, and 120x telephoto camera. I'll show you the sample shots later. For selfies, we get a 20 megapixel camera with 128 degree field of view. Now as for the primary display, we get a 6.81 inch AMOLED display with quad curves with WQHD plus resolution, that's basically 2K resolution with 120Hz screen refresh rate. By the way, it's also protected by a Corning Gorilla Glass Victus. Now this display has HDR10 Plus support, also supports Dolby Vision, and it's also got A+ rank on DisplayMate. Now as for the rear display, it's a 1.1 inch AMOLED display with multiple functions. Not too many, once again I'll talk about that later. Now when it comes to performance, this phone sports a Snapdragon 888 processor with Adreno 660 GPU with 12GB of LPDDR5 RAM and 256GB of UFS 3.1 storage. Besides that, we also got triple phase cooling technology for better gaming experience and less heating issues. When it comes to battery, this phone is powered by a 5000 mAh battery, supports 67 watt fast charging, and comes with a 55 watt charger inside the box. This phone also has wireless charging and also supports reverse wireless charging. That's another flagship feature. Next, this phone also has dual stereo speakers, sound by Harman Kardon. Besides all these things, we got a lot more sensors on this phone. along with a multi-dot laser autofocus, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, NFC, infrared blaster, and so on. Overall, the list is really long. Basically, it's a flagship, there's nothing missing, at least nothing major. Now back to the phone. This is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up. This is the home screen, notification panel, the same old MIUI. Now here's the about page. This phone is running MIUI 12 based on Android 11. As for the storage, we get about 237 GB of space for our user apps and user data, and we get about 8.6 GB of RAM free right out of the box. Now this is the camera interface, looks pretty similar to all the Xiaomi phones. At the center we have a toggle to switch between the primary camera, wide angle camera and the telephoto lens. We can go all the way up to 120x. On the left side we have the regular video and pro mode, on the right side we have portrait and more, where we get to see all the camera related features. We have similar interface even for the front facing camera. Now as for the main highlighting camera features, this phone supports 8K video recording with all the 3 lenses. We also got a new ultra night photo algorithm, so night shots should be better. I'll show you sample shots later. We also have a new feature called action capture, where you can keep focus on moving objects. We have dual native ISO fusion, which removes noise in low lighting conditions. We can also record video with HDR10+ support. That's something new. And finally, when it comes to slow motion, we can record video at slow motion at 1920 fps. That's definitely a huge improvement. Besides that, there are some more camera features which I'll talk more about in my best features video. With that said, these are some sample shots. Now back to the secondary display. This is definitely one of the most highlighting features about this phone, or at least the most unique thing about this phone. Well, by default it can just show you the time and date. Besides that, whenever you get a call, you can check out the number or the contact name. You can also answer or end the call directly from the smaller display. If you answer the call, it'll directly turn on the speaker mode.
Hello. This is GreedyTech.
Besides that, while you're using the camera application, you can show the preview on the smaller secondary display. Once again, there's a lot more to it. You can check out my best features video for more information on that. Now as for the dual stereo setup, here's a quick audio preview. They sound super loud, they're great for media consumption, and obviously great for ringtones and alarms. No problem over there. Now as for the security aspect, this phone has an in-display fingerprint scanner. It works really well. It almost instantaneously unlocks the phone. Once again, here's the preview. We also got the face unlock feature in good lighting conditions, and even in low lighting conditions, it works really well. It almost instantaneously unlocks the phone. In complete darkness, it's still fast but takes about a second or two to unlock the phone. Now before I conclude, these are the benchmark scores. So guys, based on my initial impressions of using this phone for a couple of hours, it's definitely a flagship level phone. Definitely feels premium, it's faster, smoother, you name it, it has it. But when it comes to the practicality, this one is definitely heavier and also slightly on the thicker side. If you can just get used to that little aspect, then you'll definitely enjoy using this phone. I guess the pricing could have been slightly better, somewhere around 50,000 rupees would have been great. I don't need a ceramic back, it doesn't have to be that heavy. Give something very practical with all the same stuff and it would have been much better. So guys, that's what I think about this phone. It's slightly on the pricier side and it's also a bit heavy. Besides that, the phone itself is pretty impressive. By the way, I forgot to mention haptic feedback on this phone is also pretty good. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. With that said, this is Nikhil signing off. See you in my next video.